ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Large crowds, loud gatherings, and possible gunshots. A South Bay community is concerned about alleged house parties happening in their neighborhood, and all of this in the middle of a pandemic. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura spoke with neighbors who say now it's reached a tipping point just this weekend.
I spoke with a neighbor who says the parties have been happening for months, but the crowds and commotion this weekend was the worst she's seen. This is video taken near North Rancho Del Rey Parkway and Bayona Loop in Chula Vista. This was around 1 a.m. Saturday, and all of a sudden,
oh my God.
What sounds like gunfire startled the neighborhood.
On Friday, that was kind of like the biggest commotion that has happened since.
Lindsay Robles Whitehead took the video. She says the crowds were leaving a party from a home on Mansiones Lane, which is inside a gated community.
In a pandemic and in our neighborhood where, a lot of people live and want to feel safe, I just think it's really irresponsible.
Another neighbor sent us this video with a better look at the number of people on the street that night. Lindsay says the parties have been happening for months and the crowds spill into their neighborhood.
So now they come across the street to our neighborhood and park all the way down the loop in all our cul-de-sacs.
Chula Vista police say they're aware of videos from Friday night into Saturday morning that neighbors have posted on social media, and they are aware of the possibility of gunshots, but so far have no evidence of a shooting. They say they have been receiving complaints about a home on Mansiones Lane for months, and activity seems to have picked up the past few weeks. Police say they're working with code enforcement and alcohol beverage control on this matter. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Governor Gavin Newsom is praising San Diego County for its work vaccinating the public. Today, the governor toured the vaccination superstation at Petco Park. He says opening that location nearly a month ago served as a role model for the rest of the state.
San Diego, the first county, first city to put a site together like this. Success leaves clues. You inspired others all throughout the state of California, including the LA Dodgers.
Newsom acknowledged the nationwide scarcity of vaccines and said more needs to be distributed across the state. And that was echoed by San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria, who made a direct plea to the vaccine makers today on an appearance of GMA3.
If anyone from Pfizer and Moderna are watching, please send vaccinations to San Diego. We can put them to use.
As of today, more than 395,000 people in San Diego County have been vaccinated once for the COVID-19, and more than 70,000 have been fully vaccinated, meaning they've received both shots. The county announced 698 new cases today. That's the fewest one-day total since mid-November. Our test positivity rate was 7%. No new deaths were reported, which is normal on a Monday, so that total remains at 2,800.
As of today, 153 cases of the UK variant have been found in the state of California. 138 of those are right here in San Diego County. But this doesn't mean the city is the epicenter of the state's spread. We spoke to scientists at the Scripps Research Institute. They say that San Diego has world-class genomic sequencing capabilities, which allows them to actively seek out cases of the variant.
There are many other states where the sampling is not as good. So it's not evidence that it's not there. It's just we don't know yet because we haven't gone looking for it.
Scientists predict the UK variant could become the predominant strain of the U.S. by mid-March. To avoid this, they say we must remain vigilant with our mitigation protocols, including wearing masks. A new Navy report is shedding light on the major coronavirus outbreak last year on the USS Roosevelt. The outbreak was so bad, more than 1,200 sailors tested positive. One died. The report says social distancing efforts, they were ineffective, and in some cases, mitigation was simply abandoned, and sailors were just allowed to gather together in closed spaces. The report also found that as many as 1,000 sailors were released from quarantine too early because the ship's leaders thought it was too cramped to keep them all together.
A San Diego senior and Army veteran says he was overcome by gratitude while in the hospital with COVID. His past trained him to fight, but he called this adversary terrifying and one he may not have conquered without the devotion of someone who cared. And he wanted to thank one of the nurses who saved his life in a show of gratitude that's positively San Diego. 61 years ago, San Diegan John Farrell began serving his country in the U.S. Army. Sergeant Farrell was stationed in Germany and tasked with photographing checkpoints along the border as tensions grew after the Cuban Missile Crisis. His assignments included concealing himself as a member of the press corps in order to interview German generals and bring back the information.
I tried to get to know my patients. He told me about his past and being in the military and everything. So I just tried to make a connection with him, and we were able to make a connection very well together.
But last month, Farrell says he faced true fear. Now 80 years old, he found himself battling an unpredictable virus that put him in the hospital.
You never know with each patient. It's so different, and it can change in a matter of minutes to hours.
A reality of the coronavirus not lost on Farrell's family.
They were terrified.
Farrell describes his fight with COVID as not a fun experience to go through.
Made all the more bearable, and if not unenjoyable, certainly survivable by wonderful people doing their job.
He credits the care of the nurses for getting him through.
Their compassion just made me cry more than once. It was just the most wonderful, compassionate experience of my lifetime.
Although there is one nurse he remembers by name, Alex Weatherby. As we brought them together on Zoom, Farrell shared how Nurse Alex made his day every morning, sweeping in with joy and a lovely smile, he says, and helping him do what he couldn't do for himself, such as shave his face.
I can't thank you enough, John. It was very heartfelt when I heard that you remembered my name and that I made that much of a difference in your care, and that is really special to me and makes me feel like I'm doing what I wanted to do as a nurse.
But it's John who feels gratitude for the diligence and attentiveness of his care, even as he knew the hospital was overloaded and nurses were swamped.
When you see the hoops those people are jumping through, it's just so hard not to be understanding. There's no complaints out of me.
In fact, Farrell says he has nothing but love for Nurse Alex and the others who helped him recover and soon reunify with his children and grandchildren.
I'm so glad you're feeling better.
I'm feeling wonderful, thanks to you.
Oh, thanks.
Well, thank you. God bless you there.
Thank you.
Not only is Farrell released from Sharp Chula Vista Medical Center and doing fine back at the Veterans Home next door where he lives, but as of today, he is out of isolation and received his second shot of the COVID vaccine. And we are so happy to know those long-awaited reunions with family are not far off. And every day, ABC 10 News is highlighting the good in each other and stories that show our resilience and strength. If you have a story that's positively San Diego, send us an email to tips@10news.com. You can also join our ABC 10 News Positively Facebook group, where you can share your stories with other San Diegans.
The historic second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump begins in the morning. Democrats insist that Trump's words and actions incited the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol.
Some people say, oh, let this go away. Oh, no. When something as horrible, as dastardly that happened on January 6th occurs, you cannot sweep it under the rug.
Trump's lawyers plan to argue that his words are protected under the First Amendment, writing that Trump, quote, did not direct anyone to commit lawless actions, and those who did so of their own accord. Trump has announced he will not testify during the trial, and reports claim this trial could be shorter than what we saw last year. ABC News sources say they expect it could wrap up as early as Monday. Again, the impeachment trial starts tomorrow morning. We're going to be carrying the proceedings live on our app. You can watch by downloading our free 10 News app on your phone or streaming device.
And nothing like this should ever happen to an animal.
A dog abandoned at an Escondido dog park left tied to a fence. The animal reportedly alone for hours. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo introduces us to the two women who stepped in to help and are now hoping they will find his forever home.
The women say the dog looked well taken care of. He had a leash and a harness, but his owner never returned. It was this dog that captured the hearts of Justine Hollins and Taylor Reynolds Sunday night.
It was late at night. It was cold. People said that he had been there for over an hour.
The women saw a post on a page for animal lovers. The dog was abandoned at Mayflower Dog Park in Escondido, reportedly left by two men.
This dog it was freezing, and this dog legit thought that they were going to come back.
Hollins and Reynolds are cousins. When they arrived, they found the dog tied up to a fence.
He just really wanted to wait there. He was kind of telling us like, no, they're coming back. Let me stay.
Animal control showed up to help take the dog, who was visibly stressed.
The dog, he was crying and his eyes were actually watering. He was crying and whimpering for his owner.
The women help rescue dogs from Mexico and say this dog didn't look abused, but say if the owner could no longer care for him, they should have looked for a better option to rehome him.
That was the worst night of his life, and I don't want him to ever feel like that again. He deserves love, and he deserves, loyalty back, because he was definitely loyal up to the end to that owner.
When asked about a possible animal abuse investigation, Escondido police referred us to the Humane Society, which is closed on Mondays. Their website does have a listing for the dog, where it says dogs not claimed within the 4-day holding period may be made available for adoption. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.